Burton from Parks and Rec, Executive Director there. Joe, good morning.
He's helping balance off you guys who might not be that tall.
I'm bringing the average down. Bodwell's bringing it back up. Joe, how tall are you today?
Only 6'3". Jonathan's got me by a little bit.
6'3", still good.
Only 6'3".
Only.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. You two are hogging all the height. Share. Spread it around.
Our parents were more generous than yours were.
Hey. They need guards to handle the ball, so that's our job.
Magic Johnson blew that whole model out when
he did
what he did. So
he did.
We don't have that anymore. Joe, let's talk Parks and Rec summer season here too, and we're past Memorial Day, so the pools are open. How are you doing there? And how's your labor pool for the pools?
Doing okay. We're still adding some lifeguards, so if anybody's got any kids that are already certified, that'd be great. Send them our way. And we do have a class, one more lifeguard class this weekend. We've had some interesting weather. I think we've lived in Seattle for the last month or so.
I just said that yesterday, man.
But on days when the sun is out, it's been nuts. I think people are so anxious to get out. We had Wednesday last week. It was warm and sunny. We had 1,000 people between the two pools. We had 1,000 people on Wednesday.
Wow.
Yeah, very busy.
What's the situation with Lambert Pool this year?
Well, I get nervous every time somebody asks me about it. But Lambert is being a trooper so far. Everything is running okay. Actually, this year, it's War Memorial's deciding to be our problem child. Leaking a lot of water over there. We've got some issues we're trying to keep up with and hoping to get that one through the season. We had some repairs preseason this year. We're going to have more repairs postseason this year.
How much leakage are you having?
It's a good bit.
You losing 10% of your water a week, a day, or what?
We're losing thousands of gallons per day.
Per day. And at this point, you don't know where the leak is?
We do know where their multiple leaks are, and we're managing what we can. But we had major leaks repaired prior to the pool's opening, and what's leaking now was not identified, preseason when they did the repairs. So this will be more repairs to do. We
had a major pool overhaul at War Memorial about 25, 30 years ago, Matt, if you remember.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Doing that. Joe, is that effectively what's happening? Is those things, the reconstruction from that area is wearing out?
Some of it is. I mean, everything has a usable life, and some of those things are wearing out. We had a lot of plumbing leaks that we had to go through and fix. And they did a great job on that rehab. I mean, it's very user friendly over there, and things work well. But it's 20, like you said, 25, 30 years later. Yeah. So what we're dealing with right now is mainly liner leaks.
Yeah.
And that was redone in 2018, and gets a lot of wear and tear.
What are your other major programs this summer that you're running, and where else do you need help?
Well, we have a fantastic day camp going on right now. We have about 1,000 kids signed up for day camp.
Wow.
We can handle 64 per week at each location, 64 at Berkeley 2000 and 64 down at Randy Smith. They got a great program put together. They do a field trip every week. They go to the pool every week. They have in-house activities going on. The kids are busy. They're tired at the end of the day. Everybody has a good time. We're expanding that to an after-school program coming up into the school year, too. So that'll be a big new offering for us. Great to give the kids some structured activities right after school. Also this summer, we got a whole bunch of camps. Mini camps. We've got camps out at the Children's Garden, at Poorhouse Farm Park. We've got some outdoors-based camps. We've got a fishing camp coming up, hiking and camping, all kinds of cool activities going on. Of course, basketball camps, soccer camps, volleyball camps. Lots of activities to keep the kids busy before fall leagues start again.
Joe Burton is our guest here on the program, Executive Director of Parks and Rec in Berkeley County. There's a new park coming in the south end of the county. What will that require from your staff in regards to the ability to maintain and staff that park?
It's definitely going to mean some man hours, and it's also going to be a mowing expense. Of course, phase one that the county is working to get underway will be, all the infrastructure for the park and layout for the future amenities added to the park. But phase one will have roads, fields, grass, playgrounds, mulch, restroom facilities to clean. So it's going to certainly mean sending 2 people to Inwood every day to empty trash, clean restrooms, lots of weeding, mulching, mowing.
And in regards to what Parks and Rec needs long-term and your vision for Berkeley County Parks and Recreation, You've got impact fees that will start soon. What will your slice of the impact fees be in the current version that's being discussed?
Right. Yeah. So the county is still kind of working through that. The numbers that they proposed the other day, Parks and Rec would receive 16 to 1,700 per house. So that's projected to be 1.6 million or so per year.
Per year, so long as the building construction is flowing.
Right. At the current rate, that's what we could expect per year. So those funds they'll come to the county to manage those funds, and those are pretty restricted. So for us, that means only capital improvements, no repairs or additions to current facilities, but new things in growth areas. So that would help with something like Inwood Park for sure. It would help with building something for the community in Spring Mills. We just finished the small park out there at Hoax Run, which is fantastic, but we obviously need more. It's a giant growth area out there. So that $1.6 million a year could go towards building out new facilities or purchasing land in those growth areas.
In addition, you're asking for a levy.
Correct. So while the impact fees help expand, we are right now really in a deficit for trying to take care of what we already have. Give you an idea, we had about $3.3 million in revenue in the last fiscal year, and we spent about $4.5 million.
Is that user fee revenue?
Well, it comes from all sources. So the biggest part of that does come from our users. About $2.2 million comes from our businesses that sponsor everything we do, and all of our patrons who pay for registrations for league fees or rentals, things like that. Of course, much of what we do is free. The parks that we operate, and you can go out and enjoy those parks, those are free. So it's a small percentage of what we do that we actually charge money for, and that is where we generate the biggest part of our budget. And I guess my opinion's changing a little bit about that. I feel good saying that we work really efficiently. We do great to raise such a high percentage of our budget ourselves, and especially compared to some other Parks and Rec departments in other areas of the state. But the bad news about that is we are putting all of the heavy lifting on our patrons. So it's the families that are putting kids in rec leagues, or people coming to the pools, or people renting a pavilion. Those are the only fees that we have in our control, and we have to keep continually raising those to try to meet our needs. And those families are actually supplementing all the things that we offer that are free, like taking care of Poorhouse Farm Park or War Memorial Park. Those things are free, but they cost a lot of money. So where we only get about $1.2 million total from the city, the county, and the Board of Ed, we spent $4.5 million last year. We had some extra money from the COVID era, and just like everybody else, that's gone. So where the use of our parks has exploded, and people are expecting more every day, the funds are not there to take care of it. And unfortunately, the bad side of the impact fees are now we're going to create more bathrooms to take care of, more grass to mow, more trash cans to empty, and there's no dollars set aside for that.
Because the impact fees can only be used toward new construction?
Right, it's capital improvements.
Have you talked to them about maybe changing the wording of that, where it can be for operations or anything? Because that sounds a little restrictive.
It's not our county that's making those rules. That comes from a higher place.
That's the deal, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how much of a levy are you looking for, Joe, and how much would that work out to per house?
So we went to the county. We requested permission to run a levy for Parks and Rec. We're not a levying body, only the county commission is. Okay. So while we can have a parks excess levy, but that has to be blessed by the county. Ultimately, the voters will decide if any money is approved or not. But what we requested is an amount that would be about $6.5 million for our operational budget. That would come out to, if you had a home that was valued at $300,000, assessed at $180,000, that would come out to like $9 a month.
So about $108 a year.
$108 a year.
All right, and you said that you spent $4.3, but you're asking for an over $6 million operating budget, which is significantly higher than the $4.3 that you spent. Why do you need $6 million plus if you only spent $4.3?
We've got millions of dollars in deferred maintenance, and that number is growing every year. And the 4.5 we spent, unfortunately, is a lot of baling wire and duct tape. And I think we do a really good job considering what we have, and I think Parks and Rec always has done a really good job considering what they have. But I think our community is expecting more, and I would like to say we're doing a great job instead of a good job for what we have.
So the levy would raise 6 point something million, and that would go on top of the 3 point something million you already have in your budget?
Well, what I would suggest is the funds that we're getting from other sources, like from hotel, motel, and from our allocations from the city and county, be set aside to capital improvements rather than come to our operations. The county desperately needs those capital funds. The impact fees are going to help the county pay for things like finishing the new Inwood Park. I mean, it's taking them years to come up with the $5 or $6 million to kick off phase one. That's a $15 million project. There's a $15 or $18 million project waiting, the expansion of Poorhouse Farm Park, where there's no dollars set aside for that right now. So I think in total there's like $55 million of capital improvements that are sitting on the books. So if we had a couple million a year to throw at that, it would just help. We're still not talking about something that's going to get these projects done in the next 5 years. We're still talking very long term.
Matt Miller.
I'm still going back to the impact fees, and you mentioned it has to be a capital improvement. When you look at what had gone on at Lambert, and you're still able to operate that pool right now, but that long term that may not be the case. Can that money be used to pull that pool out and do the renovations and or a new center of some sort there?
So it's even more restrictive than just capital improvement. It's capital improvement in growth areas. So we've been hearing a lot, growth pays for growth. Mm-hmm. Growth pays for growth in growth areas.
Downtown is not growing.
That end of
That's
town?
not it.
So you can't even work with that there.
Nope. So it doesn't pay to replace your existing pool that
Right.
needs replaced, but it will pay to build another pool in a growth area like Spring Mills.
When we look at the South Berkeley Park, does that have a pool included in it?
There's a splash pad in the overall plan for that. Mm-hmm.
And as far as what you're looking at in Spring Mills, how far along are you in what might be able to be developed there? Do you have a plan for?
Well, the county's putting out for bid right now phase one.
Right.
So like I said, that's really the preliminary. That's the infrastructure and some amenities, but the splash pad isn't in that
Right.
phase one. It's to come later.
And again, that's for South Berkeley.
Correct. And
But-
that is a growth area.
Right.
So that's something that impact fees would absolutely help fund.
All right. And then looking ahead to Spring Mills, you mentioned the small park that is now open there. Do you already have plans and designs for other parks in Spring Mills?
Well,
Or?
we currently don't have any more land in Spring Mills.
Okay.
So there's definitely a need for it. We recognize, in looking at numbers, there's a huge need for an indoor facility up there. There's the need for more open park land. We've talked about DuPont Soccer Complex many times over the years. Right now, we've got 500 kids playing soccer out there 7 days a week on natural grass that absolutely can't hold up to it.
No.
So, possibly turfing that area, making it a year-round, multi-sport facility may be something possible.
Jonathan Bodwell.
Well, I know Hagerstown just put in an indoor facility, which, from what I haven't been there, from what I understand, it's absolutely beautiful.
Sounds like it.
But is there? I mean, that north end is growing like crazy. The south end has not ended up growing like they thought it would. It is growing, but it's not growing like the Spring Mills area. Is there talk about? I hear this splash pad. Is there talk about getting another public pool in this county? I mean, the two we have are 5 minutes away from each other, and we're starting to have these huge population centers on the top and the bottom of the county.
So the most recent document we have, the master plan we have, had no mention of that in Spring Mills. Things have changed quickly in the 3 years or so since that plan's been out. And I think, like I said, there's certainly going to be a need for indoor gym facility, for a pool facility, for more outdoor parks out there. There's no question there's a need for it. There's currently not any land set aside for it, any funds for it, or any plan set in place.
Joe, what was the reception like when you asked for the ability to put a levy out to the voters for $6+ million?
Well, I think the county commission is concerned for sure to go to the voters. My perspective is the Parks Department is asking for that. We want to ask the voters, here's what we want to do. Would you like to approve this increase in your tax bill to take care of our parks and expand these facilities? I think the county commission is hesitant to put anything on a ballot that's asking anybody to pay any new tax, obviously. It's not a popular thing, and if you're looking to get reelected, especially, you're not in a hurry to ask the public to pay more taxes. I guess my opinion is we're paying the taxes one way or another, even with the impact fees. You know, we say growth pays for growth. We say the developers are paying these impact fees. Well, ultimately, we are all paying the impact fees. That's going to drive the price of the homes up, which makes all of our home values go up, which makes all of our property tax go up. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I don't know of another way that government gets funds besides on the back of taxpayers. So however you package it, it's ultimately the taxpayers that are paying it.
One of those county commissioners is Steve Catlett, guy who did your job for 40 years previous. Has he been a sympathetic ear to what your problems are with Parks and Rec?
Certainly. I mean, I think Steve understands our plight better than anybody. Steve went to the county commission in the past and asked to run a parks levy and did run a parks levy on 2 different occasions. And on those occasions, it did not pass, and that was, I think, about 30 years ago. So I do think we're in a little different environment right now, and I think it might be something. I think it's time for the public to take a look at it again. I think it's time for the public to be aware of what their taxes actually do pay for. I get a lot of comments, I pay my taxes, you know, ... fill in the blanks. But I don't think people really understand what do you pay in taxes to help parks. I mean, in 2025, the county's allocation to Parks and Rec was $100,000. You know, what do we have? About 140,000 people in Berkeley County. So as a county resident, I paid my taxes. I paid my share of $100,000.
Less than $1
You
per
paid your
person.
70 cents.
That didn't
Nice job.
That didn't go too far, did it?
I gotta tell you, I think if you can get them to do the levy, Joe, the most important thing you're going to do is publicity. Is be everywhere at every community meeting, at everything, explaining why you need the money and what it's going to be used for, or it will not pass.
Agreed.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a huge proponent. I've sponsored 40, 50 teams at least at the rec center through my business through the years. I've coached. I love the rec center. I think what it does is so important for the kids, but I think that message needs to get out a lot better and a lot more if you want a levy to pass.
I agree.
Joe, maybe you can address this paragraph. Brad Knoll wrote it in our comment section. Something does not sound right. Growth area is the whole county because the bill was written as a growth county. Hearing contradictions by this guy. Can you address that paragraph, that concern from Brad Knoll?
Well, a consultant was hired by the county. I think it's Tischler Bice is the name of the
Correct.
company. And they do an in-depth study to determine what can you do with your impact fees, how much money can you charge, what could you ask for in each of these categories, schools and parks and rec, and everything you can possibly ask for. So I'm reporting on what I know. I'm not the expert, and I didn't come up with these rules. But I will tell you to everybody, look into it more and see exactly what are the rules about impact fees, where does the money go, and what's allowable. I will tell you for sure, it's only allowed to be used in growth areas and only for capital improvements.
From an operational standpoint, Joe, how many more full-time employees do you need to do the job at Parks and Rec effectively?
Well, right now, I'll give you an idea. We've got 20 parks we take care of. We've got 400 acres. We've got about 160 square feet of indoor facilities that we have to clean, take care of, maintain, operate every day. We've got 19 full-time employees. I don't know if those numbers add up to people, but that's not many. I would like to double our maintenance staff. Right now on a weekend, I've got one seasonal maintenance person on a typical Saturday that is hustling from bathroom to bathroom, from trash can to trash can, trying to keep up. Just War Memorial Park alone, there's 30 trash cans. They need emptied at least twice a day on a Saturday. By the time you finish them, it's time to go start. There's 5 different bathroom facilities to clean in there. The same thing. By the time you get done with all of them, you just go right back and start. That's one park. There's 20.
I volunteered at a festival in Frederick County, and they started the Italian festival. They brought it back a few years ago, and I was looking for something to do as a volunteer. It appeared that emptying trash was the thing to do. There were several hundred people there that day. I think we had about 10 trash cans throughout the properties. Joe, all I did was empty one bag, take it to the dumpster, replace it, go to the next one. I did that for 8 hours, and I never caught up.
I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you saying that. I don't think people realize. You said it's several hundred people. On a nice day right now, War Memorial Park will have 1,000 people, and Poorhouse Farm Park will have at least 1,000 people.
Yeah.
If you don't believe it, just stop by when the sun's out on a Saturday and start counting. It's absolutely amazing.
You never catch up.
You will never catch up.
Yeah. Joe, a minute left. How do people get in touch with you to find out more about Parks and Rec programs and maybe for some employment?
You can certainly check out our website. It's mbcparks-rec.org, sorry. And, call our office. I'm happy to speak to anybody anytime. If you can't catch me when you call, feel free to stop by. I really like to talk to people about this stuff. I think for the most part, people are supporters of parks, but don't always understand everything that we're doing. So I'm happy to help.
Good to see you again, Joe.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Best of luck with you with your levy request, sir.
Thanks very much.